Hello, it's the final word. Southampton 1, Everton 0 at St Mary's at the weekend. Awful result, awful display. And me and Ped are going to go through it. Bit like old school today, innit? Just me and you. You're doing 24 jobs.
Me and you.
Juggling.
And a very, very loud room next door. It's the most annoying thing. And it's like...
Do you know what the worst thing about it is, though?
You never hear them when we win, do you? Like,
no, they're quiet.
They're really loud.
But the thing is, they're not even talking about Liverpool here. You do realise this, don't you? The Liverpool stuff was all done early afternoon. This is all everyone else in the Premier League. That's why they're so animated and they're laughing because Everton are losing. And I've just heard them talking about how horrific Southampton are. So that's why they've laughed more about Everton. Yeah. But we are here to discuss the Everton game, and it is a little bit, it's a bit depressing. You know, we've lost 50% of our games this season already. And this was a awful performance, wasn't it? Really, I'm struggling really for any positives, because I don't think there was any. I think tiny little positives. Mangala was all right. Jesper Lindstrom was all right in patches. And that's really the only sort of positives I can pick out of it. You know, I don't think they kept a clean sheet all season. They got the first at the weekend. We just, goal-wise, we don't create enough opportunities. We couldn't even keep a clean sheet against a team that had scored 6 goals before Saturday. And some of the comments from the manager have got me genuinely scratching my head after the game as well. But ultimately, Ped, it just wasn't good enough, was it?
No. No. It was... I personally believe it starts with the team selection, and I'm just... You're somewhat scratching your head. I don't understand our team that by its own manager's sort of thinking is relegation fodder, can afford to leave a player who they fought incredibly hard to keep at the club. Like, literally, we spent all summer worrying about a player and whether he'd stay or whether he'd be tempted away. And for me, not starting him was gross incompetence, gross mismanagement, and I'm actually bewildered, and I don't like digging people out. I'm bewildered by the fan base's reaction to this, by the way.
Some of the fan.
I think some of the fan base have just let this slide. We should be absolutely outraged that Jarrad Branthwaite isn't starting games for us, but we're somehow all in this malaise of... I don't even know what it is. I honestly don't know what it is. It must
be manager knows best. That's what some of them
There's a malaise, though. There's an absolute malaise at the moment, where it's like, you know, whatever, you know, and I can't buy into it. I can't buy into it. I look at this situation, and even if we'd won on Saturday, by the way, I think you have to look at big picture. A couple of weeks ago, we were playing Ipswich. A few weeks ago we were playing Ipswich, and I remember in the game itself, late on, we win it 2-0, and I was bemoaning the subs. Like, you got to start trusting the subs, and you get some people jump on you for being negative when there's a positive situation happening. And I think people have to start looking at the bigger picture. And it's like, it doesn't matter if we picked up a point last week. It doesn't matter if the week before we got a clean sheet and won and Keane scored. Jarrad Branthwaite is not only the best centre-back, but one of the best players, if not the best player at our football club. And people have got to start admitting that and realising we're a better team. This is not a situation of, well, he's doing all right, so just leave him inside. Not much between them. Like, the manager might look at, like, Jack Harrison and Lindstrom. You're talking about Jarrad Branthwaite, who emerged out of a season, began it as a young kid, and ended it as an England international. And very unlucky not to go to the Euros, and probably the fact that he had the injury probably stopped him needing that operation. The manager probably looked at it, probably rightly so, Southgate, and thought, he's carrying an injury. If it's between me and him, them two, sorry, and it's like that much, he needs an operation. He could go under at any time. I can't be dealing with that. And I find that straight off the bat the completely wrong way, because to me it's a big boys club, and some people are in it and some people aren't, and the people who are all senior players that he absolutely loves, and you can understand why they like him, because he did get played. This manager does not care about the careers of Jared Brantwaite, Jake O'Brien and Nathan Patterson. Does not care. Couldn't care less about their careers. And all he cares about is his own stuff, whichever way you want to look at that. He has nothing past, not building anything, not going anywhere. It's partly down to that he's in his last year of his contract. But I just think that has to be said straight off the bat. That I just think that gives that thing of straight away when you walk into a ground or you switch it on and go, that I don't think that's the right move, and I think that sets the tone. I really do. Other people might feel differently.
No, I mean, listen, I think, again, I've said I was conflicted the other week with an ethos for the squad, which is if you do well, you keep the shirt, you've got to have the opportunity. But you've got to balance that up, and this is why I'm saying I'm conflicted, because you've got to balance that up with how you want to play and with having your best players in the team. I'd argue my own point and defend that sort of ethos of you keep the shirt if you do well. If Everton had won 7 out of 10 games, or 6 out of 9, and Brantwaite being up, we've won 3 or 4 games on the spin, and Keane, it's not even a Michael Keane issue, but if we were winning, you might. But this is a team that's won 2 games this season. 2 games. One of them Brantwaite played in. Yeah. And the other one was against a team that's just come up and wasn't very good.
Yeah.
We need to have the ball. We need to be able to use the ball. He's the best defender we've got. He's the pace. He's calm under pressure. He uses the ball brilliantly, and there's a reason why lots of teams want him. And only a few can afford him. And I'm not sure we're in a position where we can leave someone that good out the side. If it's a case of he wants to be fair to Michael Keane, take Tarkowski out the side then. But Brantwaite has to come in, balance, control on the ball, passing through the lines. He does it all. And he's a threat in both boxes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The situation it reminds me of. But, we can understand the other side of this. I remember when Moyes came in and he had Weir and Stubbs and Yobo couldn't get in the side. And I remember at the time being really you're a lot younger, really worried about, Yobo will leave us because he's not playing. But you know what? Weir and Stubbs were brilliant. And the way we played, and football was different then, and you could have a much deeper line, even though, you'd have a deeper line then, and we certainly didn't get away with it. But those two were brilliant for us. And Yobo sat on the bench because he had to, and then the manager brought him in when he thought it was right. That's the only thing I can compare it to, but at the same time, they were brilliant. These two aren't brilliant. Tarky's been rubbish this season. Let's just admit it. His tackle on Saturday was disgusting. Yeah, disgusting. Ridiculous. Just for a player, a senior player, the man with the armband on, just stupid. Absolutely stupid in the first half of a game of football to catch yourself with a yellow card like that, going up against someone whose only real thing he's got is pace. So therefore he's going to play off the back of you now, and they did it to Keane and he got booked for it. And then you got 2 and the manager still didn't react. But he's been rubbish. He's been absolutely rubbish. And
he is carrying an injury.
No, he is carrying an injury, but you've got to. But you've got to admit these we don't admit these home truths. He has got an injury, and we all know he's got an injury, and he'll play through the injury. And yet the manager thinks it's brilliant to leave a £70 million player on the bench who's brilliant. He is brilliant, and I can't get past stuff like that. I really can't. I find it astonishing. I find it all astonishing, and it sets the tone, I think, for the rest of the team.
What did you make of Jesper Lindstrom coming in?
I actually think he had a decent game. And we talked about this on the starting 11 the other day. I was talking about this in starting 11, and I couldn't make a case for him starting because when he went out the team, he was rubbish. And last week when he came on, I didn't think he had a good enough effect against Palace. So even though I thought Harrison was poor last week, I just couldn't make a case for Lindstrom. But you know what? This week, he has made a case for himself, and I think it might just be a case now of leaving him in the team for 5 games, 6 games, and see how he gets on. And stop chopping and changing on that side and pick one. And I think Harrison's had enough chances now that it might be worth, because Lindstrom had shots, crosses, shots off target. He had a free kick that stung the goalkeeper's palms. You know, he made enough of an influence, or done enough, that I think, well, maybe now is that maybe starting to pick it up. I don't know. He's done that. He's done that before, and the next game he was rubbish. So maybe he just needs to play. So I'd leave him in the side now. I do think he plays higher up the pitch than Jack Harrison does. So I'd leave him in the team now. So I thought he did all right.
It's not his numbers said he did all right. To be fair, we couldn't really get going in the first half. We had the Lindstrom free kick in the first half, which Ramsdale caught quite easily. We had those moments where we got into good areas. Dom had just a shot blocked in the box, and Jai got into the box a couple of times, made the wrong decision. And again, it was that thing of, he just looked off it again. And I don't know, I've never seen a team the last couple of years, and to be fair, that with Lampard, and it happened a bit with Benitez, but if they have done all right, they don't ever seem to follow it up. To be fair, we were terrible last week. We were rubbish last week, and people tried to tell me, oh, it was just an off day and we got out of jail. We were crap. This has been coming. This 5-game unbeaten run, it's been coming. It was done. Palace should have put us to bed and didn't, and we got away with it. Things like that. We're not in any sort of rhythm. We've got no groove. We've got no way of playing. They were there for the taking on Saturday. Poor decision making in the final third. Not enough men committing forward. And there's where your options are. There was one in the first half where we moved it right the way across their box, and there was 3 players had chances to shoot, 3 of them, and he just passed it on and got it back and looked and passed it on and got it back and looked and it was embarrassing. It's get it out your feet. McNeil had one. The best thing he's got, really, is getting it out of his feet and having a go, and he didn't. Went to shoot, stop, turn back and have a little look, and I'll play it there. Those moments are instantaneous. You get out your feet, you hit it, keeper parries it, especially him. And hell, him in goal, Jesus, he should have been raining shots down at him, and we don't. We're leaving it, and those moments were few and far between. Southampton knocked it round, said this last week. They're really well coached. For the level of player they've got, they're really well coached. But the powder puff, there's nothing, because they've not had enough money to invest. So I get him, not digging them out for it. They just haven't got real quality in the final third, because it costs money. But I like Russell Martin, what he's done there. They knock it round, like you say. Cameron Archer is a willing runner, but he's not real Premier League quality. Adam Armstrong's not really Premier League quality, but he's pacey. He's struggled in the Premier League before, very good at Championship level. So they're not like you were terrified of them on the break. And yet Everton didn't go all in, and fair play to Russell Martin. His team is still trying to do it. They had one real moment, didn't he, with Cameron Archer, which he got away and fired it across the goal, and that was sort of it in the first half. Yeah. And I really thought we'd come out second half and the manager would have got into us a little bit and gone, these are here for the taking now. I was hoping and expecting, but even before the game I was hoping for an Ipswich type performance where you'd go, we're better than these lads, so just go out and do it. I won't be able to ever square off in my mind how much of an inferiority complex this manager has with every team. It doesn't matter who he comes up against, he's terrified of them. And I think when you played that kind of football, you play into the hands of everybody, because what you're doing is saying, we're just going to try and keep it naught and hope we get a free kick or a corner. When Everton should have been going there, strutting the stuff up and going, we're going to put you under so much pressure, you conceding 2 goals a game, you don't score goals, you're in big trouble this afternoon, lads. And we didn't, we just retreated like we do. And the game was just ebbing away. And then in that 10-15 minutes in the second half, he took off and Jai and Dom. And it was like, it was almost a bit, wasn't white flaggish, but it was just a bit like, what's happening? I know he's come out and tried to say Njai was injured, but Njai was fuming when his number went up. He's shaking his head, and Dom, well, a pound or a penny for Dom's thoughts there, because he weren't happy.
I mean, they come out and had a little bit more in the second half. Now, how could you not? How could you not? But I mean, it was more. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It was more of like, can we start getting on the ball a little bit and start, rather than waiting for them to give us the ball? And you're right, because he's come out and said that he took Dom off because Dom basically said Dom was rubbish. And he also said we have to change the tactics because him and Beto are different. But he said we're going to put more crosses in and go longer. Well, I don't know about anyone else, but I think Dom's pretty good in the air. And if you feed him regular crosses, he'll do well. His hang time is pretty good. And we just don't do that. We don't. I mean, listen, I'll argue all day with people about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But if people can't see that we basically give him absolutely nothing. Yes, Ipswich, I know he missed chances, but if you look at the other games, if you can tell me how many chances he gets in a game, and I know people will go, well, he doesn't work hard enough or blah, blah, blah. I get it. I get all of it. But you've got to service your centre-forward first thing, haven't you? You've got to work.
It's your point.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of it.
Exactly. And yet, so he says, well, we'll get Beto in. Well, why are you saying we've got to do more for one centre-forward and not for the other centre-forward? Beto does come on and create murder, drama, whatever. He does.
It's chaotic, so he calls
But I guarantee like in this game, there'll be times where he'll stand up front and he won't touch the ball for 10 minutes. He will not. Now, his style of play absolutely is set up for the last 20 minutes of games. People are getting tired. You're changing your tactics. They've brought subs on. Are they following the players? He's perfect for the last 20 minutes. But once again, he's gone up on his own. Where what has been demonstrated in the last 2 weeks by putting a centre-back up is that he benefits massively from having another centre-forward up with him.
As most do.
And you've just taken your centre-forward off in 2 games in a row. I will never ever get behind that. I don't care about the novelty act of it all. I don't care about the people singing Keno. I don't care about the fact that he has got a great shot on him. He's not a centre forward and doesn't understand how to play centre forward. And it is 1970s tactics, like the rest of the football,
desperation.
Out of desperation, because in the 2 weeks in a row you've been getting beat. And last week, yes, he came off and he got his goal. This week, yes, it was that far. But doing it in the last minute to grab a point. Why aren't you doing it with 25 minutes to go, this is 0-0, let's go and win this. We get 1-0 up, these will fall to bits and we'll get more, because all we need to do is just go long. They will not be able to cope with us. And also, Beto's got a turn of pace on him, and he showed that when the lad got booked, who probably should have been sent off. He's got a turn of pace on him, and him and Dom, I just don't get it. He's tried it once and it didn't work, Sam. So what have you been doing for the last 12 months on the training ground then? I just can't accept this style of football, this way of thinking, this, like you said, this inferior. What does that say to the players? Like, you're not as good as any of these teams. Any of these teams, and that includes the teams we play in the League Cup, who we just let off the ball. I just don't believe it. I do not believe that this Everton team are as bad as he makes them look by his coaching and his tactics.
Well, there's one or two things then, isn't it? If this team really is as bad, then Kevin Thelwell needs to be chased today. Because what he's saying is they've got no idea how to identify a player. Because he's had 12 or 13 players brought in for him, as well as the 3 he used to manage. And is he saying they're all not good enough? Because teams who were coming up from the Championship, he's scared of as well. Doncaster, he was terrified of Doncaster at Goodison, who had the ball. So I'm sorry, but anyone who buys into these players aren't good enough. Good enough for what? They're more than good enough to be between 11th and 14th in this league. More than good enough. And yet, we're scared every game. I'd say I'd be sort of, not protecting the managers, not the right way, but I'd be sort of going, What more do you want him to do? If he was throwing everything at every game and playing two strikers and putting wingers and going and getting people around you forwards and trying to, I'd be going, well, he's using the best players he can to his ability. It's all right saying he's not a very, it's fine to look at him and go, I don't think he's a very good coach. That's fine. Some people will go, they think he's great. Well, okay, that's opinions, but I don't. But if he was going all in on what he clearly believes, because that was his MO at Burnley, that's what he did every week. He never tried to be clever at Burnley. It was route one. It was terrible to watch, but it was effective. And yet he's half and half here. He's playing the same awful football, but he's only putting one man up front. Your striker needs service, but also we can have a go at Calvert-Lewin. I said against Ipswich he was brilliant off the ball.
Yeah.
The chances he missed were woeful. Yeah. Really bad finishing. Yeah. And he should have been criticised for that finishing because it was really poor. But that's, so far, that's an anomaly, that game. Because we don't create that many chances for him in any other game. So what he does is he runs around. Did I think he was good Saturday? No. But he's running around with three defenders chasing him. So what do you want him to do? So why not give him a chance and give Beto a chance? Throw the two of them together and go, let's see if it works. That Saturday at 0-0 was there for the taking. He made the change nice and early, fair enough. You go 60 odd minutes like we're changing it. Yeah. Okay, sound. We're changing it. Okay, just remind me again why Jack Harrison's gone in the 10. Lindstrom's best seasons were in the number 10, but you're keeping them wide. Okay. Oh, so and McNeil, but you've shoved McNeil back to where he can't do it on the left. Didn't make sense to me anyway. But why not just give it another 10 minutes with Calvert-Lewin and Beto? Go, look, let's see. Let's get someone alongside Beto. They play three at the back. So your centre-forward's got three centre-backs marking. So let's stick another one alongside them. Just go back to front. Make them have to think. Let's get long. Let's get Dom jumping and Beto running in behind. Let's get Beto running. Let's go for it. If 15 minutes after the sub, 75 minutes, it's not really working. Okay, say, Dom, come and sit down. We're going to throw another midfielder or whatever. Have a look at it that way. We didn't. What we do is he does is he just takes one off and just puts the other player on in exactly the same position. So nothing ever changes. You haven't worked, so he's going on. It's like, okay, so you're getting men round him. No. So he's just going to be toiling away against three centre-backs the same as the other centre-forward was. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Go all in. Throw the two of them together. Go direct. Listen, if he believes genuinely that we can only play by booting the ball long, right? Well, put more men up there then. Put more men up. Almost play like a 4-2-4. So you've still got two midfielders protecting, 4 defenders and a goalie. But you've at least got 4 lads battling and scrapping for the ball in the final third. Go long, go nice and direct, get balls into the box, have Dom attacking it and Beto running behind, or vice versa. Throw caution, not caution to the wind, but be a bit more attacking, and you know what? You'll get your rewards. There'll be games against Arsenal, City, teams like that where you can't. I understand them going, we're playing 4-5-1 and we'll sit in and we'll see what. I'd love a manager who was beat everyone, like Iriola. You've also got to get the team right to do that. But this thing of starting from a position where everyone's better than us, that's bollocks. That is absolute nonsense. And anyone who believes that, then you've been kidded into it. You've been kidded into it. Yeah. But that's what happened, and the game just flowed away. It just nothing happened. They were doing nothing. Did Jordan Pickford have a real say to me? I don't think he did. Michael Keane's missed the sitter. Let's have it right. I know the referee to give a free kick in the end or whatever, but it was a sitter. He was on his own. Could have buried it. Jack Harrison should have buried it. Ball in. He's somehow missed it. We had the Beto chance, which it's coming and fast, but he's got to score there. It's his head, it's at the bar.
But that's 3 crosses.
But that's crosses coming in.
3 crosses coming in. Yeah. So if you've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Beto in the box, you've got 3 crosses coming in. Then both of them have got opportunities. And
you're backing them more than the other lads, aren't you? And obviously we at the bar, they break. They made an attacking sub, by the way, bringing on Sugawara, who raids. And they break and we don't get tight. Mikalenko, I don't know what happened to him. He got nowhere near it.
He started on the right. didn't he?
He was all over the place. And,
He started on the right and then had to find his way over on the left.
and then it cross in, and Ashley Young's got one job to do, which is mark Armstrong, and he doesn't. He runs back to the goal for some reason instead of just marking the lad. And he just hits it first time. And is it Michael Keane doesn't block the ball, even though it goes there, just sort of moves out the way and it goes past Pickford.
Standing in front of Pickford.
Pathetic, absolute shambles of a goal. And then what's the big master plan after that? Bring Jarrett Branthwaite on and throw Michael Keane up front. And that's where the frustration comes. Had he gone 4-2-4 and we'd have got caught, I'd have gone, you know what, I'd have been gutted, of course I would, but I'd have gone, at least he went for it. He went for it, trying to win it. You know, we could have done that better than that, but we went to try and win it, we didn't. You know, and I hear it come, okay, Beto scores a really good goal, but he's offside, that's the way it is. But then I heard we almost got a point, he said. Playing the bottom of the league, you don't win. I'll be honest, without being disrespectful, I'll be surprised if they win 5 games this season. They might get on into the groove and they'll probably get better as the season goes on, like Burnley. But when you look at them right now, you can't see them beating many teams just right now. Sure, they will get better, but when you look at them, you can't see them beating many teams right now. And yet he would have been almost celebrating us getting a point from a game we should have won.
He went for a point though, didn't he? He went for a point. And going back to the sub, the thing about the sub is, once you've made the sub, you can't go back. You have no other options on your bench to make any more. So you've got nothing left. So if Southampton score at that point, you are left with nothing but a centre back to go up front. And I just find, I find it mind-boggling. You can lose games of football.
Yeah, of course.
And you can lose games poorly, of course. But if you can't bemoan options when actually you've got a centre forward on your bench who's chaotic and dangerous because of that. You've got another attacker on the bench. You've got an attacking fullback on the bench who could come on.
That's 2, didn't he?
Yeah, one of them could have come on. You've got options. Not loads, I grant you that, not loads, but you do have options, and this goes back to my point before about what I said about when we played Ipswich, that idea of trusting. Why Seamus Coleman and Nathan Patterson on the bench then, if you're not going to use them, if you're not going to say, we need to change something here. You know, Branthwaite comes on, that's your opportunity to bring another one on. You say, right, not only is he coming on, but we're putting Nathan Patterson on at right back as well, because actually just get up and down.
You could have pushed Ashley Young higher if he wanted to put crosses in. No, could have, couldn't he?
But it's not, it's just that, and I to me, it's just this surrender is just, this way of doing things is just pure surrender to me. And the longer it goes on, then to me, it's not gonna, I don't see this thing of it bearing loads of fruit. I really don't. I just, you know, we're already 4 points behind what he's supposed to get, which is 1.3. And I just don't see it. I don't see this negative way of football being the way to get us into a place of safety. I just don't see it. I really don't. And you know, let's see what happens after Saturday, because like I said, the Palace game last week was Fulham was diabolical.
Yeah,
absolutely diabolical at home, and I don't think he's got many friends left. I really don't think the fan base now are most of them I see, and listen, I can't judge if you know, but I think most people are done. I think most people can put up with certain stuff. They can't put up with this kind of football. They can't put up with this kind of negativity. They can't put up with going into games like that, just going, oh, you know what, we're playing for a point here, and then you know, because it'll be 6 games unbeaten. Oh yeah, but how many points you picking up during that time? It's not for me this now, and I'm done with them.
It's just frustrating because, like I said, if we haven't got amazing options, but we're good enough to go after teams. Certainly teams like Southampton. Gotta go. Fulham was there for the taking, and we even though I thought they played well on the night, they were still there to get her, and we didn't get her. Southampton when we should have done, and I look at West Ham and I just think I can't see us getting anything there right now, because I don't think the way we're playing, you try and have a discussion with, and most people who I speak to are sort of well on board of there's not. I can't see anything. You know, some people might go, oh, well, you know, he's done all right. But most managers would have done. Granted, the first bit of when he came in, he had a tough task and he didn't have any new players and his hands were tied and he had to just get on with it and he did the job, what he was asked to do. You know, I've got friends of mine who were like, shake him by the hand and say thank you and send him on his way and get a proper manager in last summer. But the club rightly give him another go because he deserved it. Fair play, kept him up. But this thing of every game, like I've said before, if he'd had never been able to bring another player in and he was just given 14 or 15 players and that was it, and he had to just battle with it with academy kit and you'd go, what can he do? But he's had 14, you know, there's a lot of players being brought in with his say-so as well, and there's no improvement. And I want my Everton team, I want Everton to win the Premier League and be in the Champions League and all that, right? But I understand that ain't an option, right? It might never ever be an option again. But right now, it's not about that. But it certainly isn't about this thing of all we can achieve 17th and we have to give the onus to every other team because we're not good enough. That's nonsense. Yeah. Utter nonsense.
I watched an interview yesterday with Emery talking about, they asked him that question, do you think you can win the Premier League and the European Cup? And he was just like, yeah. And I've been saying that since day one. Now, this is a fella who came into a club which very similar circumstances to where we are at the same sort of time of the year 2 years ago. And, okay, probably have better players, but they weren't doing it at the time. And day one, he drilled into them that winning thing of we're going to go out there and we're going to win games. And that's exactly the opposite. Now, people might go, oh, Emery, blah, 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 world class and all that. Like, yeah, but isn't that the point of, like, isn't that what makes him such a good manager? Is that mindset of we can win this game and then we can win that game and then we can win that game. And of course, he'll have days like he did yesterday because he tries to win every game. So therefore, his squad has been depleted by that because they're playing Champions League and everything. But I can't have this mindset of we are relegation fodder and it's let's just pick up a point.
It's absolutely
no, that's it, isn't it? Let's pick up a point, 1 point at a time, because if we get 38 points, we'll be fine. And it's that mentality. I can't have that.
No, but we will be fine with that. But that isn't the point. The point is you can do that for the 5 months he needed, 4 months that he needed to do that for. I get that, right? The next season has to be a season of progress. It can't be, well, if we just finish 17th, we're all right. Because this is where Everton are. Everton are in this position because people have been short-term all the time. But this team got 48 points last season without winning a game for 4 months, losing the first 4 home games, having a centre forward that didn't score for 5 months. I can keep reeling them off. We won the last one away game. We've won since December the 16th. We've won 7 games in almost 11 months, and bleeding 3 of them within 6 days. These records, these facts that are there are dreadful, but a lot of it is self-inflicted. You have to show progress. Go after teams. Put the 2 up front, get it forward, change the tactics or the system and try to get the best out of what you've got. Then I'll say, Sean, fair play, mate, you're trying everything. But this thing of going, no, we're not good enough, it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense because I just don't believe it for 1 second. You can always make a team better. You can always make your squad do better. You can go after teams. You can teach players to play. These players are elite footballers, by the way, playing in the top division. And yet you're telling them they're not good enough. That's nonsense. And us as fans shouldn't accept that, really. But I want them to sort of get on the front foot a bit. Be cautious with certain things, absolutely, but just let's get after some teams. We can't do it to the very top teams. I get it. I get it, and it requires a different game plan. Because they have got quality that can kill you. But Russell Martin's gone into that game knowing Everton are miles better, and he hasn't gone, oh my God, we will just get battered here, lads. What can we? They've gone and get on the front foot. He's got no quality. If he had Everton's front 3 players in that Southampton side, they'd win more games than what they have done. If he had Calvert-Lewin instead of Cameron Archer, they'd win more games. That's just the way it is. But I just think I think we need to sort of change our outlook and go after teams, particularly at Goodison, but teams that are there for the taking, because we're going into a period of games now where Brentford aside, and that won't be an easy game at all. We've got a bad run of games. Next 2 home games are Brentford and Wolves. Everton needs 6 points from them. Then there's Liverpool, which is they're beating everybody. So Everton don't get 6 points out of them 2 home games. They are gonna be in the second half of the season. We'll be battling relegation.
Yeah.
And it will be created by ourselves and not because the team isn't good enough. Mangala thought he'd done all right. I give him man of the match. These are the stats from the game. You can see 89% passing accuracy, 1 tackle. He had 3 shots in the game, won 7 out of 12 of his ground duels, and completed 3 dribbles at 100% dribbling accuracy. I thought he was all right. It was okay.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, again, when you've got him and Garner, I thought Garner done well as well. I thought when you've got those 2 in there, and you've got those 2 in there, and you've got 2 fullbacks that don't come forward, it's like you don't really need to worry about having 2 strikers.
That's what I mean. So get the 2 strikers and get the players up.
It's not that you got the Corey who's going to be all over the pitch, and you might be, like for the goal last week where he sort of gets caught out. It's like, they're going to, those 2 players are going to be disciplined, and they're going to sit if you ask them to sit. So if you say, I'm putting a centre forward on, just go long, use 2 in the middle, pick up the bits, stay disciplined. It's not that hard, is it? The wide men stay wide and get us some good. The fullbacks stay back. You can still be quite tight with that. And
you should really be able to lose one of your midfielders, as in pushing on, because you still got 5 people back. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a bit weird. Well, you mentioned Garner there, so you have a look at Idris's numbers as well while we're there. 95% passing accuracy. People say gives the ball away. 6 tackles, 1 shot. Ground duels he won 7 out of 14, and he had 2 clearances. So them 2 were all right. And then we mentioned them before, but Jesper Lindstrom, I thought he'd done all right as well. His numbers were better actually than what I thought they were, but passing accuracy 90%, had 3 tackles, 2 shots in the game, created 2 chances as well, and completed 1 dribble. But signs that he's starting to get a little bit of a feel for it. He's still got to do more for me. Get it out of his feet and get lots of balls into the box, join in a bit better. But he's shown some decent signs.
He's definitely showing signs, but probably all a little bit alien to him. And obviously he hasn't had that many games and been getting chopped and changed. So we'll wait and see now whether he'll be left in. But who knows? Might be too positive.
Not really much more to say, is there? If truth be told.
Nope.
There's not really much more to say.
Well, I could say quite a lot.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. We're going to carry on with your comments over on Premier now. For everyone else, we can join it. The link will be in the description if you want to become a Premier member. But let us know what you thought about the game at the weekend. Can we be braver? Can we be going after teams rather than just deferring to everybody? It's so infuriating because we have got players who could cause teams problems. We're not talking about playing the greatest football. We're not doing it anyway. So why don't we cause chaos and get balls into the box and have 2 strikers going for it? Is there a formation change you think the manager should try? Should Brantwaite have played? Let us know in the comments section below. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. See you later.